Hello everyone. A very warm welcome in this second day of the conference to all delegates, and a very special thank you to Professor Cristina Poncibó for being sharing with us, all her knowledge in terms of comparative law related to technology. You have been through her bio note for sure, but as you know, she has been professor at the University of Turin, and very recently she has published an excellent book on artificial intelligence and law. And he is also responsible for a master in law and technology with two other universities. So I think that the blockchain is one of the technologies that is helping or may support fashion industry to move forward in terms of sustainability. So thank you so much, Cristina, for joining us. And the stage is yours. Please go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you very much indeed, Isabel. I'm very grateful to you and organizers for your kind invitation to take part in the Global Fashion Conference 2023. I mean, it's an opportunity to get in touch with practitioners and colleagues from this field, and I'm really happy to be here with you. So what I'm going to talk today in the next 20 minutes is basically my perspective, and I hope stimulate discussion about some recent developments we are assisting, especially in the European Union, in shifting blockchain from an hype to a reality for markets. So I'm going to discuss about instruments, solutions, strategies the EU is adopting in order to facilitate the use in practical cases of the blockchain. And my perspective is the perspective of a lawyer, because law is my field, open to interdisciplinarity. But anyway, you see all the, the pros and the cons of the legal perspective on this topic. The title is Innovation for the Common Good. That is exactly the topic of this year's conference. Now, how to develop the fashion industry with a view to sustainability, circularity, and other societal goals in societies. So, innovation for the common good in the case of the EU blockchain sandboxes. First of all, why blockchain is very relevant, or maybe very relevant for the textile and fashion industries. We know from scholars that have investigated this area in the last decades, that the fashion industry and the textile industries, they have quite an important supply chain that is very distributed globally in different countries, having different rules and approaches. And what is always important here is to protect the supply chain from unauthorized parties that can enter the process of manufacturing. So one important goal is to assure, that the supply chain is not subject to any treatment by unauthorized parties, for example, in the case of counterfeiting of products. This is one area that is of interest of the, fashion industry. And also, this is very relevant in the fashion industry. We know already from the authors I'm quoting here about the fact that you need to assure security. In this respect, blockchain is, as technological tool, very useful in manage something that is distributed because it is one of the best examples of DLTs, now distributed ledger technologies. And so basically, it can help to manage distributed supply chains by providing additional security to work on the chain and to protect the fact that products are authentic. And there is a second area of interest, I think, from the fashion industry, the fact that blockchain as a tool can facilitate quality control and check processes over the supply chain in the production, distribution of fashion products. Anyway, it can also support in terms of protecting the efficiency of the process. It can help to make the process of quality control and control of authenticity faster and probably more efficient. This is from Butler and others, a nice picture. They try to reconstruct the potential use of blockchain in the different moments and phases of the supply chain for fashion industry, from the factory to the distributors, to the brand warehouses, to the allocation, to retailing, by discussing where you can use this extraordinary tool that helps you basically to manage the chain, timestamp, follow the different steps by grounding on a technological tool and methodology as applied. So you see now different respects, areas, phases. You can still rely on the tool to try to make it work for the fashion industry as well. Anyway, it has been quite interesting. I openly admit I try to map applications of blockchain in the fashion business after this invitation, and I was really curious to know more about applications in this very specific area. And in the literature, I've been able to find a number of examples that shows how lively is the fashion industry in adopting innovations. How also we have many examples. Also blockchain-based platforms. These are examples from the literature from Badhar. So sorry if I don't mention everyone that is here taking part into this meeting. But anyway, these examples have been already examined in the literature. They target different areas of the supply chain, from counterfeiting to transparency, traceability, consumer engagement, administration and control in the industry, and marketplace platforms. And then you see the association of different levels, different brands that have relied or are experimenting this kind of tools. So it's really a good area for investigating the interplay of this tech innovation with the industry and markets in society. Anyway, in this presentation, we focus, in this meeting and conference, we focus on a very specific goal. The research question is simple. Can the blockchain also contribute to promote sustainability and circularity in the textile and fashion supply chain? So basically, we would like to see if this decentralized and distributed digital ledger can, that usually used for record keeping and is not something that you can alterate easy, if it also helps to push the fashion industry in the direction of the many goals we have under the label of sustainability. In this case, the question I'm trying to examine is if the specific features of blockchain can support industry to promote transparency and traceability in complex supply chains, but both for retail industries and also luxury fashion industries, both that they are both under consideration in a recent scholarship about this topic and assure that these goals are included in the production and distribution? This is a good question. As we all know, we are talking of very different concepts. When we deal in this kind of technological context of traceability, we mean the idea now basically that you can easily follow the path of the product from the factory to the consumer, and you can trace the different phases, and you can assure also the authenticity, and you can basically have something that helps you to manage a global supply chain in a very efficient way. Transparency is a different concept completely. It's evident. We mean the fact that we can access information, especially in the perspective of your clients, consumers, basically, that can get all the information about the product issue. For example, if the product has been the result of manufacturing and processes that include respect certain SDGs, like social, environmental, SDGs in particular. So basically, the quality of the product is also to deal with, sustainability is a quality. It could be considered as a quality, as an additional quality of the product for certain categories of consumers. The problem here is that, as we all know, people in the field and people outside the field, there are some critical issues. Blockchain has emerged initially as an idea, as something like new conceptualization of the internet, or capable to bring us in a more democratic society because of decentralization, the voice from the bottom. So basically, it was really quite a philosophical understanding of blockchain. And from this very initial hype, now we are in a completely different moment. We are discussing specific problems in legal terms in facilitating the adoption. And we see critical issues. We see some critical issues. For example, the issue of interoperability of blockchain networks. As you know, you have different blockchain tools depending on the fashion industry and the fashion company that is using them. So you have the issue, all of us, we face the issue of make blockchain networks cooperate or not be limited, but can interoperate in each other. I used to think to these networks like islands, when you have a network of little islands and they cooperate, join together, is a metaphor, but it gives you the idea. But it's an archipelago of islands, and you have just that network. And if you change, you go to other islands in another place, you see they have different language, and you cannot get into easily. So it's very complex, and it is a strong limitation in terms of expanding the use of this tool globally, especially in the fashion industry that has this, global dimension. So it involves a number of countries, a number of networks. Interoperability is an issue. Blockchain, as many technologies, are completely driven by data. So basically, if the data you put have no quality, the problem is that your blockchain is not working fairly. And then we have another critical issue. Immutability is a value. Yes, it's positive. Yes, you can trace and you can timestamp, and this facilitates, for example, fight counterfeiting. But anyway, at the same time, you cannot, after the beginning of the process, maybe discover any need to change, to adapt. You see, COVID-19 has been a tough experience for all of us, teaching that in certain situations you have force majeure and you have to adapt. And you always need legal tools that are somehow flexible. Blockchain is not flexible at all. So if you made a mistake at the beginning, it's impossible, or you have to cut the blockchain, the chain. Is it impossible to review the mistake? We see this is contracting when you do a contract on blockchain and then you say, I made a mistake. It's not possible to change it. So how to deal with this? Then we know there is the issue of energy consumption. The blockchain is extremely energy consumption. produce. So basically, how you can say, I'm trying to go in favor of the environment, or I would like to fight against climate change, and then you are using a tool that is extremely energy consuming. This is absolutely a nonsense. And about this, there are tech developments as well. I was discussing this recently with someone from, tech experts, and they were saying, we have new generation of ERPs that are less energy consuming. So we are trying to give an answer by technology to a problem that technology is shown to have. We will see, but today we have to be honest and recognize this problem. Then there are a number of non-technical challenges that we will see. I mean, this is a technology. It has to accommodate with society expectation and societal goals and market, but also consumers and vulnerable consumers as well, and so forth. So there are a number of non-technical issues here that have to be taken into consideration. So basically, okay, these are the problems we face today, how we deal with them. And in order to open the discussion, I have to share this with colleagues from outside the European Union, but also discuss with colleagues from the EU, that the European Union is very active, and indeed the EU institutions, the Commission, they have launched certain initiatives. One initiative that we are discussing often in these days was how to tackle problems that I have just rapidly sketched out now is the use of a new regulatory instrument, a sort of new tool for regulators to cooperate with industries interested in, putting into reality blockchain and to test this kind of tech tools, is the EU regulatory sandbox. And probably you have heard about already. In the European Union, we have two different examples of sandboxes. One is a public instrument, the European Blockchain Services Infrastructure. And this tool has a focus for basically the public sector uses. But we have another tool that is the European Blockchain Regulatory Sandbox for innovative application. So basically, I'm trying to sketch out to introduce you to this solution, this strategy that is very important. Is now I can say it's leading the field in the EU in order to try to develop blockchain in the direction also of social goals and SDGs, to include them. This is totally based on a theory of regulation and law that is experimentalism. It's not new. It's not theory. It's the fact that when you have to put into place a new regulation, you have to basically experiment first certain solutions in a protected environment, that is the sandbox, where you have some representatives from startup companies, industries, also regulators, some representative of consumers, and in that protected place, you test new rules, new solutions, new strategies, new innovations. You see how it goes, and if the result of the test is positive, only in this case, you can move from the protected sandbox to markets. So it's a sort of imitation game of a market where you test, and the regulators are there. And you fix criteria as a regulator to give access to industries, and then you play this game. It has a long story since legal realism, the fact that law has to be framed in society. And before you have a law, you need some sort of testing, and it should be inclusive in the sense that, especially in the times we live in, we need cooperation, co-creation with all the stakeholders, including people representing, in our case, industry and the fashion industry, that have to have voice and a different way to perceive regulations, not only supervision, monitoring, and maybe in some cases sanction, but anyway, a field where you can easily play since the very beginning. So it's a sort of responsive regulation. and experimental regulation examples. So this sandbox can be framed according to these general theories. You can use sandboxes for a number of goals: fostering innovation, because you would like to develop new solutions, new kind of platforms for your fashion apparel, or new kind of social innovation you would like to test. It is a tool to regulate markets, especially for new approaches, new services. It has to do with the need to assess also the state of competition, law, and consumer protection in the market issue. So basically, are there sandboxes in the field of fashion industry? Yes, there are. And it's quite interesting to see that there are some examples from the literature. There are many. I'm just quoting one from the literature. In the UK, they are experimenting a new data sandbox for the UK fashion and textile sector. The scope is a private managed initiative together with the University of Exeter. The scope is to develop a new understanding of extended producer responsibility, EPR system, to give to the supply chain players incentives to ensure that clothes and other textile products can be reused, refurbished, and resold. So it's precisely what I'm talking about. The use of sandboxes to test innovations in the area of fashion, clothes, and apparel. So what we expect from this model is not the only one. Sandboxes are mushrooming outside the European Union. There are many in the United States and Asia. We have, as scholars, an ongoing mapping of initiatives that are really mushroomed. So it's a powerful idea. If you would like to be critical, is a powerful narrative that can solve any of the many issues that are still open there. What we expect in the European Union is, basically to support businesses in developing, new technologies, new tools like AI or IoTs, and to move from supervision to cooperation at the beginning of the introduction into the market of products or services there. How we are working with the regulatory sandbox in the EU. We had first the launch in 2022 by the Commission, and a call that is open to startups and industries and operators in a number of economic sectors. There is no limitation in terms of industry. So any kind of business can be part of this experiment, let's say. So the Commission has provided, an infrastructure to running this exercise. It will be running for 3 years, and then they plan to accommodate 20 projects for each round of this regulatory sandbox experiment. And is open to companies from all industry sectors and public entities. So basically, they can take part to the experiment, experiment their solutions, blockchain-based tools, and so far. And see, there is also some incentive to take part in terms of recognition and public engagement, and also the Commission is promoted this idea of this instrument of trying to use this model in order to move further. And we have the list of the selected projects. That's just to show you is very diverse in the sense that you have projects in a number of fields ranging from cryptos, but also in fields related to IP privacy, to improve the situation in terms of environmental goals, and a number of very creative platforms that are trying to develop a number of areas, including digital assets and so far. And this is not the only Example, we have many. There are also solutions that can be of interest for the fashion industry. For example, the development of the digital product passports that helps companies to measure and to improve circularity in their physical products. So basically, something that can be fruitfully adopted by fashion industries and companies interested to use blockchain for circularity and to measure and to develop, to apply this tool for the circularity of physical clothes and apparel and so far. There are many examples. Many of these projects, as 20 on EU-wide, are very, I think, innovative, but also they have to with innovative services and products or tools to, product, distribute, and share this idea. So basically, this is quite an interesting, I think, development globally. And the European Union is centralized by the EU Commission. The institutions of the Union are promoting in an active way the adoption of sandboxes as a possibility to test blockchain with a wider view, not only efficiency, but more fairness in the sense of circularity and promotion of different environmental and social goals. This is quite an interesting idea, I think, in the sense it is not only, related to efficiency, but it is also a place, a sandbox, where, for example, you can give voice to representatives of consumers in order to design, since the very beginning, a product or a mechanism for distribution that is innovative with, the consumers, and also in that early stage of assessment before then, after this period of testing, go into the market. And it has some advantages in the sense that companies can see the results, the data emerging and the results of the testing, and try to comply with in order to facilitate the development of innovation in this area. So this is probably what we can expect in the near future. In the sense, sandboxing is not the only option. It is also becoming quite frequent establishment of hubs in between the regulators and industries in certain economic areas and sectors where innovation is running fastly. But anyway, sandboxing is one of the possible mechanisms to connect the hype of blockchain to the reality and to push also innovations in the direction of be more inclusive of other societal goals, non-technical issues that we, at the same time, we give much importance in terms of values, in terms of respect of vulnerable rights and worker rights as well. So it probably means that for sure blockchain can contribute. Yes, this is my view. Obviously, we can discuss about this. Can contribute to the transparency and traceability in fashion industries. Yes, so probably it can, as lawyers, the legal framework can, accommodate this goal of using blockchain for transparency and traceability. Yes, it can accommodate. While I have to say that I have personally discussed with startuppers about problems in using blockchain for supply chains and the GDPR and data protection. So in certain cases, blockchain can admit some level of anonymity about the nodes. And this obviously is not very easy to comply with data protection rules in the European Union according to the general data protection regulation that we have here. But indeed, we are in the process of, discussing on something still quite recent, at least in its practical applications. So basically, we expect that the blockchain can contribute. The blockchain is not the solution for everything. At the beginning of this innovation, I remember, I'm talking of 5 to 10 years ago, we were discussing of blockchain, and it was for someone the solution of the whole problems. No, it is not. And probably even that you are engaged in using this tool in real, concrete supply chains in fashion industry, you see practically the challenges of this. But it can contribute to a certain extent. Yes, there are countries that have enacted laws, legislations to recognize the validity of blockchains, the validity of timestamps by blockchain in their jurisdiction. And so basically, it is probably fair to say that it can contribute. The law can accommodate. We are in the process of discussing about, interpretation. The case law is still very limited today, so it's not so easy to give final answers on that, but probably can contribute and the law can accommodate. There are, again, to be honest, key challenges we see now in embracing blockchain technology. Data protection is an example, and the problems I have discussed, I have introduced before in my presentation. But we can be confident because we have new solutions to try to improve the way we rely on blockchains. And one possible solution is the blockchain sandboxing. The EU has embraced this idea and is pushing this idea at new level. What does it mean? It means that we go in the direction of a more pragmatic blockchain regulation or co-regulation. So we would like to engage you, people from industry, for example, and people from each area of the economy. And the fashion industry is, I think, the perfect example of how you can apply blockchain. It's a very, very good case study in that respect. So we expect a more pragmatic regulation, more in sandboxing, inclusive with stakeholders and all stakeholders in the business and outside from the business, like the consumers. And this is probably a way to see a way forward for the textile and fashion industries. We are living in times of incredible change. It's a challenge, but it's a fantastic opportunity. It's possible that sandboxes will be more often used also with respect to blockchain-based application in your field, in the field of our conference today. And we will see, because I have to say, these solutions like the regulatory sandbox is quite recent. It is not a panacea, but it's also very interesting to see how innovation is pushing regulators that usually are not so fast in adopting new approaches to change, to rely on experimentalism, maybe to be a little bit more pragmatic, let's say. But I think this is basically an opportunity that can be shared with the fashion industry in the near future in the EU and outside the EU for developing, the entire business in the direction of, including sustainability goals and circularity.